The hospital smelled of medicine and rain that morning. The sky outside was still gray when Sarah, a young woman in her late 20s, walked into the emergency room holding her arm. She had fallen off her bicycle while rushing to work. Inside, nurses moved quickly, patients groaned, and machines beeped. Sarah sat quietly, trying to hide her pain. She had always been afraid of hospitals. After a few minutes, a tall man in a white coat approached her. His voice was calm and gentle. "I am Dr. Arav. Can I see your arm, please?" His tone made her feel safe at once. She nodded, extending her hand. He examined her wrist carefully and smiled softly. "It is not broken, only a sprain, but you must rest it." Sarah sighed in relief. "That is good news." "Thank you, doctor." He looked at her again, this time not as a patient, but as someone who seemed different. There was something about her eyes, perhaps, or the way she tried to smile even when in pain. "You should not ride fast in the rain," he said kindly. "I was late for work," she replied, blushing a little. He smiled. "You have to be more careful. The world can wait, but your health cannot." His words stayed with her long after she left the hospital. Days turned into weeks. Sarah's wrist took time to heal, and she had to visit the hospital for regular checkups. Each time, she met Dr. Arav. Every meeting was short, just a few words, smile, and the same calm voice that made her heart feel steady. Once, as he wrapped a new bandage, she asked, "You work all day helping people? Do you ever get tired?" He smiled faintly. "Sometimes, but when I see someone smile after they were in pain, it reminds me why I started." Sarah looked at him quietly. "You have a kind heart, doctor." He looked up and said softly, "And you have brave eyes." Their eyes met for a second too long, and both looked away, smiling. After her treatment ended, Sarah brought a small plant to thank him. "It is for your office," she said shyly. "It will remind you to take care of yourself too." He laughed gently. "You think I need reminding?" "Yes," she said, smiling. "Doctors forget that they also need care." He took the plant with a warm smile. "Then I will keep it as a promise." Sometimes, she would stop by the hospital cafeteria, and they would have tea together. They talked about life, about how lonely cities could feel, and about how both of them had lost their fathers when they were young. Their bond grew quietly, not with big words, but with understanding. One evening, Sarah's phone rang. It was her mother. "Your uncle is sick." "He is in City Hospital," she said, panic in her voice. Sarah rushed there immediately. When she arrived, she found Dr. Arav already treating her uncle. "You again," she said breathlessly, trying to smile. He looked up and said softly, "It is good that you came. You will be fine." Sarah sat outside the room all night, waiting. Arav checked on her often. Once, around midnight, he brought her tea. "You should rest," he said gently. She shook her head. "Cannot. He is all I have left from my father's side." Arav sat beside her, his voice low and steady. "He will be fine, Sarah. You have a strong heart." She looked at him, her eyes full of tears. "How do you stay so calm all the time?" He smiled faintly. "I am not always calm. Sometimes I just pretend so that others can be brave." In that moment, something changed between them. Sarah saw not just a doctor, but a man, someone who carried everyone's pain quietly, but never showed his own. Her uncle recovered soon, and Sarah came to thank Arav one last time. "You saved him," she said softly. He smiled. "I only did my duty." "No," she said, shaking her head. "You always say that, but you do more than duty. You heal people in ways medicine cannot." Arav looked at her, his expression serious. "And what about you, Sarah? You came into this hospital with pain, and you left everyone smiling." She blushed. "Then I guess we both heal in different ways." There was silence for a moment. Then Arav spoke, his voice gentle but full of meaning. "I do not know if I should say this, but every time you walk into this hospital, it feels a little brighter." Sarah smiled softly. "Ow. And every time I see you, I forget that hospitals once scared me." Their eyes met again, full of quiet emotion. Arav and Sarah had become inseparable. He still worked long hours, and she often brought him food from home, saying, "You will forget to eat if I do not remind you." He would laugh and say, "You sound like my heart has a nurse," she would reply softly. Maybe your heart finally needed one. Their love grew not from words, but from care, in small moments, in laughter, in understanding silence. One evening, as they walked out of the hospital, Arav said, "You once gave me a plant and told me to take care of myself. Do you know what happened to it?" She smiled. "I hope it is still alive." He nodded. "It is more than alive. It has grown flowers." She looked at him with warmth in her eyes. "Then you kept your promise." He took her hand gently, "And I made another one. I will take care of you too." Sarah's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of peace. "You already do, Arav. Every single day." The streetlights glowed softly around them. He looked at her, his eyes full of quiet love. "You came into my life as a patient," he said, "but you healed me in ways I never knew I needed." And that night, as they walked together under the soft rain, the doctor, who healed many hearts, found his own healing in hers. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Heart Talk Stories, where every love story speaks softly to the soul and reminds you what real love feels like.